Hari Om, everybody. Welcome back. Let's get started. Om Navavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Vidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Klam Baradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashantaye Vagishadya Sumanasaha Sarvartanam Upakrame Yamnatva Kritakrityasyu Tam Namami Gajananam Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhirbhavatu Me Sada Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharya Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Beda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Yasya Sannidhi Matrena Sarve Shishyascha Sevakaha Karma Kshetre Pravartante Chinmayam Tam Namamyaham Chinmayam Tam Namamyaham. Hari Om, everybody. Welcome back. As you know, we spent a few weeks on the topic of Maya Shakti. We understood how it has the power to make the impossible possible. Aghatita Ghatana Samarthyam. How does it do it? It veils the distinction between the seer and the seen within, and Brahma Sargayoho, distinction between reality and creation outside. So because of this confusion, or delusion, we are in this samsara. So with the practice of Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana, and when the veiling is destroyed, the differences become clear. At the micro level, what happens? The Jiva Bhava goes away. And at the macro level, Sarga Brahmanoscha Vedam, the distinction between the creation and the reality goes away. So then we understood that every entity in this world has 5 aspects. Amsha Panchakam. Out of the 5, Asti, Bhati, Priyam, they are Brahma Rupam. They belong to Brahman. Since there was a lot of discussion on this topic last week, I'm trying to recap a little bit more. Asti is what? Asti is it exists. That easiness aspect of a thing or a being. Meaning this pen is, or this phone is, etc. Existence aspect of it. Then there is bhati. Although it means shining, means it becomes a object of knowledge, or it becomes knowable. Because it is illumined by our consciousness, it becomes knowable. Then there is priyam, dearness, meaning it can make me happy for a while. Asti, bhati, priyam. Now, what are the other 2 in Amsha Panchakam? Nama and Rupa. Name and form. And they belong to Jagat. They belong to the world. They keep on changing. So what is the problem? Why are we studying all this? So, because of this, we are after the objects of the world externally to eke out that momentary happiness that these objects give. But we know from our study of the text called Bhaja Govindam, in that class, we learned, what did we learn? Pratipaksha Bhavana. To see the defects in these objects of the world. After reflection over a period of time, I learned to understand that everything in this world is temporary. Like we say, this too shall pass. It has a beginning and an end, Adi and an Anta. It drains my energy in pursuing to acquire them, acquiring them, then protecting them, so on and so forth. And at the end, what happens? It leaves me with a sense of pain. Or we say, dissatisfaction is guaranteed at the end. So what is real? So what is unreal? So this type of inquiry helps us to realize there is only one reality. That asti, bhati, priyam are one. Nama, rupa, name and form are mithya, appearance only. Like we say, namkavas. Therefore, upon deeper inquiry, we can say oneness alone is appearing as many. This is the highest level of Advaita. That alone I am. So last week we saw in shloka number 21, to help us understand that unity in diversity. Let us chant that shloka again, those of you who are following in the text along. Bhavaivagniर्जलोर्विषु देवतिर्यज्ञरादिषु अभिन्ना सच्चिदानन्दाः भिद्येते रूपनामनि. Just to recap, the commonality in Kham Brahma, that is the space, Vayu is air, Agni is fire, Jala is water, Urvishu, that earth. Deva, Tiryak, Nara, Adishu, meaning gods, animals, man, and so on. Abhinnaha, what is that? What is the common factor? He says, Sat Chit Anandaha. Existence, consciousness, and bliss aspect is common. So what is the difference? Vidyete. What is the difference? Rupa Namani. Name and form. So hope it is clear to you by now. The names and products, names and forms are a product of Maya. Existence, consciousness, and bliss is common to all. So we can conclude that way. And last week, I also explained through the reference shloka of Viveka Chudamani why this human birth for us is rare, what differentiates us from other things in creation. If you have missed that class for any reason, please revisit last week's lecture on the YouTube. It is important to have that good understanding of our baseline. Because as human beings alone, we are bestowed with this rare capacity of purushartha or free will. And because of that, we need to steer our intellect in the right direction. Not just to distinguish between right from wrong on a moral plane. That is very, very mundane. That is very fundamental. But to go deeper and to inquire what is real, what is permanent, all this for an appropriate level of expression of life. So, by the way, thanks to all of your comments on this topic last week's lecture. Many of you sent me private comments. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying. So what is our key takeaway until this point? That I am of the nature of Sakshi. We have established through the logic of Drg Drshya Viveka that Sakshi is of the nature of Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Brahman is the nature of Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Therefore, I am of the nature of that Brahman. Aham Brahma Asmi. That's how we arrive logically, and I do not know at this moment, it may feel different because of avidya, because of the effects of Maya, which creates three types of problems for us. What are they? I don't know what my true nature is. I think I'm the body. I think I'm the mind. I think I'm the intellect, and so on. I don't know. Even if someone comes and tells me through the study of Vedanta, I say, I don't understand all this. Or then we say, I have no experience of this Atma or Brahma. I don't know, I can't understand, and I have no experience. These are the three types of problems. And how are they addressed? They can be addressed by three types of sadhana practices. So last week we saw, I don't know, can be resolved through Shravanam. By listening to a spiritual master, directly or indirectly. Active listening, our Puja Gurudev said. Subtle mind and intellect are all aligned to the teachings. Subtle intellect and mind. Sukshma buddhi, because it needs to be caught. It cannot be taught. I don't understand can be cured by mananam, reflection, reflecting on what I have heard and internalizing it. Very important. Then I have no experience, we say. That is cured by nididhyasanam. Contemplation on what we have reflected. When I use the term from jnana, jnana is doubt-free intellectual knowledge. Jnana to vijnana, to indicate an actual experience. So this brought us to the topic of what? Meditation. In verse number 22, let's chant that. Upekshya nama rupe dve Satchidananda tatparah. Upekshya nama rupe dve Satchidananda tatparah. Samadhim sarvada kuryat hrudaye vathava bahihi. So what do I meditate on? A lot of people think it is just sitting somewhere and staring blank into the ceiling or whatever. So I meditate on that Sakshi Swarupa. When my eyes are closed, when my eyes are open, when my eyes are closed, I meditate on my true nature, that Sakshi. He gave us guidelines on that. Then when my eyes are open and I'm engaged with the world, I meditate on that Brahma Swarupa. You see nothing but Brahman. So giving that mind, keeping it steady in this knowledge, Nitaram. I've already used this term, Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. You flood the mind, giving it the same thought about Brahman. Sada Brahma Chintanam. He says, Samadhim Sarvada Kuryat. Hrudayeva Athava Bahihi. Sarvada. Always. Remember that definition our Puja Guruji gave us that I shared with you all last week. Effortless awareness. So all of these sadhanas, when we do, where does the change needs to happen? The answer to that question reveals the importance of samadhi. When the eyes are closed, sitting in meditation, I meditate on my true nature. That Sakshi Swarupa I am. I have given some pointers in our previous classes. We did some exclusive sessions on that. Hrudayeva athava bahihi. When the eyes are open, meditating on that Brahman, that Adhisthana, that substratum, meditating on that Brahmaswarupa, withdrawing the attention from the names and forms. So what does this do? Slowly, over a period of time, at the subtle level, from Vishayakara Vritti, from an object-based thoughts, I am replacing that with Brahmakara Vritti, Akhandakara Vritti. These thoughts I am giving it to my subtle mind and intellect. Actually, we studied that. If you recall, in Atma Bodha, what did Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji say? In that, he said, Evam nirantarabhyasta brahmaivasmiti vasana haratya vidya vikshepan roga nivarasayanam. Nirantara abhyasa. By constant practice, continuous contemplation that I am Aham Brahma Asmi, I am Brahman. Nirgunaha Aham Asmi. Asanghaha Aham Asmi. Kevalaha Aham Asmi. Nityaha Aham Asmi. Nirmalaha Aham Asmi. Shantaha Aham Asmi. These are all pointers of Atma Lakshana. By that kind of practice, what does this do? Over a period of time, it destroys the ignorance and the other agitations in my mind. Then we saw a famous quote in the fourth quarter of that verse that I just chanted, Roganaiva Rasayanam. Bhagavan in Atma Bodha, he said, most of you in this class are medical doctors, right? Just like when we give medicine, what it does, it seeps into the bloodstream to cure the disease. Same way, this nididhyasana, this constant contemplation, this Brahma Chintanam gets rid of this chronic disease called ignorance. So how long one should meditate? Remember our Puja Gurudev's school, 24/7. You are in that Chintanam. That is why when our Puja Guruji says meditation is not a verb, not an action, just be. That is effortless awareness. See, in our corporate lingo, what do we say? You say you convince them with your brilliance, you baffle them with your brilliance, or confuse them with your, I'm not going to say that in the, I just say dot, dot, dot. Something like that, right? Now, some technical terms will come in the next two verses, 2-3 verses. So don't get intimidated by that. I'll try to simplify it because it's a little more advanced text. Now, the classification of different kinds of samadhi is mentioned. Chanting number, shloka number 23. Let's chant that. Savikalpo nirvikalpah. Savikalpo nirvikalpah. Samadhirdvividho hrudi. Samadhirdvividho hrudi. Drshya shabdanuvidhena. Drshya shabdanuvidhena. Savikalpah punardvida. Savikalpah punardvidha. Together. Savikalpo nirvikalpah. Samadhirdvividho hrudi. Drshya shabdanuviddhena. Savikalpah punardvidha. So this practice of meditation is of two types. Savikalpo nirvikalpah samadhir dvivido hrudi. So this meditation within is dvividaha, of two types. One is savikalpa samadhi, second one is nirvikalpa samadhi. You have heard of these terms, I'm sure. Vikalpa means duality, modification. Savikalpa means the one with duality. I hope it is clear. That is Savikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa means without division, without duality. See, in the Saguna Sakara Upasana, when we are worshipping the Lord with the form, I had explained it at that time, I maintain that division, or I must say distinction, that I am the worshipper and the Lord is being worshipped. Hope that is clear, that distinction. That is maintaining that separation. So in the Savikalpa Samadhi, I have explained this before also, but just to recap, we have this, what is called as triad, Triputi, meaning, pay attention to this, meaning there is my object of meditation, Dhyeya. I am the meditator, Jatru. And there is a process of meditation called Dhyana. Triputi, these are three put together. Just joking that way. So to simplify, in Savikalpa Samadhi, the meditator or the limited jiva, there is the object of meditation, and that is Nirguna Nirakara or attributeless Brahman. So in the duality in the process of meditation exists. This is Savikalpa Samadhi. Once the duality disappears, the Triputi is gone, self alone remains. This culminates into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. I'll give you a very simple example to understand this. Let's take the case of our deep sleep. What do we say? Every night, I say, I am very, very tired. I'm very, very sleepy. What do? Prepare my bed. That is the effort. I want to sleep. As long as that thought exists that I want to sleep, I am sleepy, as long as that exists, am I asleep? Obviously not. But I do not know when that thought has disappeared, I was overpowered by sleep. We say, what do we say? I fell asleep. Or when we wake up, I say, I don't know what happened last night. I slept like a log of wood. Very commonly people say that, right? So for some of us, I'm talking about myself, we are all deep sleepers. You know, that is a blessing because a lot of people cannot fall asleep without taking some tablets or any other external aids and so on. I say this is my closest out of body experience every night. Once I hit the sack, I am gone. Now, I hope you understood what is Savikalpa, what is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now, in the second line of the shloka, he says, Drshya Shabdhanu Viddhena Savikalpaha Punar Dvidha. He further classifies the Savikalpa, meaning there are two types of Samadhi, Savikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And in that, he's classifying the Savikalpa Samadhi into two more divisions, Drshyanuvidhena, Shabdanuvidhena, Savikalpaha. Meaning meditation with duality into Drshya Shabdanuvidhena, with the duality. Shabdanuvidhena means associated with words. Drshyanuvidhena means associated with seen. So in order to explain this, we need to study verse number 24 and 25. So we will cover at least one today so that it is not overwhelming. Let us chant shloka number 24, which talks about Drshyanuvidhena Samadhi. Kamadhyaschittagad Sakshitvena Chetanam Dhyaye Drshyanuviddoyam Samadhi Savikalpakaha. Sakshitvena Chetanam. Kamadhyaha. Like these desires, these thoughts are arising where? Chittagaha, in my mind. See, if you go back to shloka number 4, when we had to go one behind the other, when we had to go from Rupam, Drishyam, Lochanam, Drukku to mind, and to go beyond the mind, how he pointed out the destination, Sakshi. And what did we say in that? Number 4th shloka, Kama Sankalpa Sandeho Shraddha Shraddhe Dhruti Tare Hrir Dhir Bhirityeva Madin Bhasayatyekada Chitihi. See, if you pay attention, the thoughts, where are they arising? They're arising in my mind. They're drishya, they're seen. What would we meditate on? Sakshitvena Chetanam, on that Sakshi, on that witness of all my thoughts, on that Chaitanya Swarupa. This type of meditation with the duality is called Drshya Anuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi. See, in the mind, let me explain this a little differently. In the mind, there are many thoughts that arise. These thoughts, they appear, then they get dissolved or they disappear. And unless we give importance to it, so who is the witness to all these thoughts in my mind that are appearing and disappearing? Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi in Upadeshasara, we studied that aspect of it. Drushyavaritam chittamatmanah chitvadarshanam tattvadarshanam. And we inquired further. Manasam tu kim margane krute naiva manasam marga arjavat. See, in this type of meditation, our Puja Gurudev used the term thought parade. See, if you've been to back home in India, if you've gone to Republic Day parade or Independence Day parade, these thoughts and desires, they're like the soldiers parading or marching. And the intellect is the commanding officer. Just taking the salute without identifying with any of the soldiers parading in front of him or her. Just witnessing. It is going. By this process, over a period of time, what happens in the mind? The agitations will subside. Remember this. This is your key takeaway today. Thought. It starts with a bit, it becomes an habit before it becomes a habit. We say, watch your thoughts as they become your words. Watch your words as they become your actions. Watch your actions as they go on to become our habits. Watch your habits, they say, as they shape up to make our character. Watch your character as it becomes your destiny. Our destiny. Then we know from Vedanta the law of karma kicks in. Our destiny determines what type of body we get to exhaust our vasanas. We need to be grateful that we have gotten this human birth, this Nara Janma, to think this way. Actually, I would like to stop here and we will continue on this topic of Samadhi next week. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrutyorma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamādāya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. With that, I'll open it up for our Q&A session. Please stay back.